Look at modern meditation today, and you might see massive geometric pyramids rising out of green valleys, serving thousands of people at a time. Usually, when we think of a spiritual master, we picture something quite different: a solitary monk in a distant ashram, detached from the noise and logistics of modern society. But the founder of the Pyramid Spiritual Societies movement, Subhash Patriji, didn't fit that mold. He was a thoroughly modern, highly pragmatic man. The largest push for accessible, everyday meditation didn't begin in a remote mountain cave. It started in the bustling corporate and academic sectors of mid-century India. His background was firmly planted in physical reality. Patriji held a Master of Science degree in agriculture, spending his early academic years analyzing soil compositions and crop yields. He lived a highly active, highly normal life in Bombay. On weekends, he was out on the cricket pitch as a competitive batsman and wicketkeeper. Professionally, he worked deep in the corporate world, managing operations at Coromandel Fertilizers Limited. This exact combination, analytical science, corporate logistics, and an active physical life, gave him a unique lens. When he finally turned his attention to inner peace, he didn't treat it as a mystical religion. He approached it as a scalable science. During a period of intense personal inquiry, Patriji began exploring various spiritual practices until he found one that aligned perfectly with his scientific mind: Anapanasati. This animated diagram illustrates the core of Anapanasati. It is simply the pure mindfulness of breathing. You observe the natural rhythm of your breath. There are no complex mantras to memorize, no elaborate rituals to perform, and no guru you have to worship. Looking through his analytical lens, Patriji saw the breath for what it really is: the ultimate open-source technology. It is universally available, entirely free, and requires absolutely zero specialized equipment. By stripping away the financial costs and the rigid, dogmatic requirements that often make spiritual instruction inaccessible, he took a practice that was once the domain of specialists and made it a standard, pragmatic tool for the masses. He established the first pyramid spiritual society in the city of Kurnool. But teaching a few people in a single town was only step one. The real logistical challenge was figuring out how to scale this practice for millions. His solution was an engineering one. This wireframe visualization demonstrates how a pyramid's specific internal spatial geometry concentrates and directs energy toward the center of its base. Patriji began constructing these dedicated spaces to physically and mentally optimize the meditation experience. But he attached a strict operational rule to these new buildings. Access to the centers and all the teachings within them had to remain entirely free of charge, forever. He paired a zero-cost philosophy with purpose-built physical infrastructure. The result was a highly scalable, self-sustaining blueprint ready for rapid expansion. The movement systematically broke down linguistic barriers. The teachings spread outward from Telugu into Kannada, Hindi, and Tamil-speaking populations. What started as local neighborhood gatherings quickly evolved. Soon the movement was hosting massive global congresses, drawing tens of thousands of practitioners and attracting international spiritual recognition. This widespread impact earned formal institutional validation, including prestigious honors from organizations like the Patanjali Indian Board of Alternative Medicines. Ultimately, his organizational success was measured by its independence. By focusing on a decentralized network of autonomous societies and self-healers, he ensured the practice was never dependent on a single central figurehead to function or grow. Subhash Patriji proved that achieving profound inner peace doesn't require packing your bags and retreating from the modern world. His historical legacy is the complete democratization of meditation. He showed us that the most powerful tools for mental and physical transformation aren't locked away in a high mountain monastery. They are right here, as accessible as your very next breath.
People spend lifetimes looking to the stars or to external figures for salvation. But the Pyramid Spiritual Societies movement starts from a different premise: Aham Brahmasmi. This Vedic principle translates to I am God. The infinite cosmic energy of the universe doesn't surround you. It's already sitting right there inside of you. This leads to an obvious question. If every person on Earth holds an infinite reservoir of cosmic energy, why do most people feel so entirely disconnected from it? Standard meditation is the common solution, but for most, the process breaks down almost immediately. Modern lifestyles create persistent physical blockages, and the mind is trained to wander rather than focus. Pure intention rarely overcomes these obstacles. To activate that dormant energy, the movement argues you must treat spiritual growth as a science, adopting a spiritual scientific lifestyle to bypass physical and mental static. Reclaiming this internal state relies on two specific physical modifications: internally purifying the human vessel and externally amplifying the geometry of the surrounding environment. The purification process begins with an absolute rule: spiritual growth and meat consumption are incompatible. In this framework, everyone must become a vegetarian to progress. The movement cites Arthur E. Powell's concept of the astral body to explain the mechanics. Powell argued that feeding the physical body animal flesh actively coarsens the inner astral and mental layers, creating fatal blockages to real occult development. This rule aligns with a universal principle of compassion shared by diverse thinkers. Albert Einstein, for instance, concluded that choosing vegetarianism was both peaceful and auspicious for the progress of humanity. Leo Tolstoy offered a more specific warning, noting that as long as there are slaughterhouses, there will be battlefields. He viewed a vegetarian diet as the ultimate test of humanitarianism. This mandate of nonviolence is rooted in ancient Buddhist disciplines, where practitioners seeking to attain genuine compassion refrain from eating flesh to avoid causing terror to living beings. In practice, this purification means eating only when hungry. The goal is to satisfy a biological need rather than eating for greed or pleasure. Clearing the physical vessel of dense, violent energy serves as a mandatory prerequisite. Once the vessel is purified, a person can safely begin to harness higher universal frequencies. With the vessel cleared, the next step is actively accessing and focusing cosmic energy. The pyramid funnels cosmic energy like a magnifying glass. Pyra means fire, mid means middle. Energy concentrates at the 1/3 height mark, the King's Chamber. This requires an exact angle of 51 degrees, 51 minutes, 51 seconds, and true north-south alignment. Proponents point to experiments from the 1980s suggesting that this focused energy has tangible physical effects, including keeping vegetables fresh for 30 days and preserving the sharpness of steel blades. In meditation, this geometry forces the mind to center automatically. Inside the pyramid, reaching a deep state of concentration that normally takes 30 minutes can be achieved in just 5. The pyramid is an active geometric technology. It is a tool required to dramatically accelerate the mind's focus and wash away karmic blockages. When a purified body is combined with the concentrated energy of a pyramid, the practitioner can rapidly realize their own inner divinity. The Pyramid Spiritual Societies movement scales this philosophy beyond the individual, mapping these principles onto a massive physical network. The movement's expansion began in 1991 with the construction of the first Buddha pyramid in Kurnool. Since then, the movement has rapidly scaled to include massive structures like the Maitreya Buddha Pyramid in Bengaluru, as well as over 5,000 smaller rooftop pyramids built in private homes across the country. The ultimate goal is to provide a scalable framework for enlightenment, using universal compassion and ancient geometry to achieve both individual awakening and global upliftment.